What's cracking, everybody? XehrFelrose here, bringing you some Pokemon GO Battle League content. In today's video, we're going to be taking a look at a couple of upcoming events, one of which is probably already started for you if you're watching this on Friday during the day. We're going to start talking about the Annihilate event as well as going over the Team Rocket event, and then I'm going to show you guys some simulations from PV Poke on Annihilate with some of its movesets in the 3 different leagues, just so you guys can get an idea of how important this thing is to get for PvP. Now, I don't normally cover news because I don't get to it before, at the same time that, Donkus and the other, big YouTubers get to it. So by the time you see my video, typically you've already seen everyone else's, but I'm going to try to put more of a focus on PvP, and so that I can kind of outline what you guys should be looking for from PvP sense, not necessarily just from a, here's what's in this event. So, speaking of PvP, the first thing that we need to be aware of here, and this is a Raging Battles event from Friday, January 19th until Wednesday, January 24th. So a good major portion of the the next rotation of GO Battle League, right? So we're getting Annihilate. It's actually already live. It went live on Thursday afternoon here in the United States, and that's where I'm from. So you guys may have gotten it in a different time zone. But Annihilate, you basically need to evolve it Primate by battling 30 Psychic or Ghost type Pokemon with your Primate as your buddy. You don't have to use the Primate. You can use your friends. You can use like practice battles, or you can go into GBL, or however you want to do it. Playing against your friends with some practice battles, like getting some 10 CP Psychic types on the lineup and just going right through them 30 times, probably the quickest way to do it. But during this event, we'll get increased rocket spawns, and I just want you guys to be aware that Annihilate is top meta in Great League, Ultra League, and it's super, super good in Master League. So if you can absolutely manage it, make sure you snag at least one for each league. And if you have multiple good ones for each league, it's always good to stash, because Annihilate has a pretty diverse move pool. So it would be saving some TMs in the long run if you find yourself having to switch moves a lot. But as far as the spawns go, you're going to want to focus, obviously, on Mankey, and then you also really want to put the focus on Lickitung, Gligar, Sableye, and you can put some focus on Scraggy. Scraggy's fallen a little bit by the wayside as of recent, but it's not a bad thing to have. Also, Mankey, if you're using a Hundo Annihilate in Master League, or any Annihilate at all, need XLs. Lickitung needs XLs. Sableye needs XLs, and you're going to want to build a Purified one, so you don't want to build a regular one. And you want Purified because it's got that return. And also, Scraggy is going to need XLs. So if you have good ones already, but you need XLs, it's a good opportunity to farm those XL candies. If you want to get Machop, you can. Like, Machamp is good, and Machoke is going to be decent in the Evolution Cup that's coming up in a few weeks. So if you want to plan ahead, would be a good time to get a good Machoke for the Great League as well. I'm not prioritizing really anything here with within the raid pool, except maybe Primate if you need those XLs for Annihilate. Something that's worth noting now, because of Primate being able to evolve into Annihilate, it is now eligible for the Evolution Cup. So something interesting to keep in mind as we go forward here. And then they have the usual BS, they got a collection challenge. I'm sure there's a timed or paid timed research, because they put that with, yep, there it is. Paid timed research, everything. Dude, everything's got a timed research. If I'm paying for it, at least make it special research so it doesn't expire, dude. Like, I get that you want to play the event during the event, but not everybody can do that. And it's just stupid to waste money and your research is gone. I just, man, especially if somebody gifts it to me, I'm gonna feel real bad if I don't finish it. And that's just not healthy. But anyway, something else to keep in mind too. Well, it's a paid time research for GO Battle League, but I think they put an announcement out. They said they're not going to do it. I don't know. But you get 4 times Stardust from win rewards, just like we had this previous week during the Master League and Fantasy Cup week. And you also get 10 sets per day. So really good time to either climb or not play and wait for everybody else to climb so that you can catch up later with maybe a little bit easier of a time. And then that's pretty much going to be all the things that we care about for this Raging Battles event. So let's jump over to the Rocket event and check that out, because that's going to have some interesting stuff in it as well. So getting into this Rocket event, right? So this is going to be happening at the end of the month. It's coming after the event with Annihilate. So from the 27th on Saturday of January to Thursday, February 1st, we are gonna be able to have this event. Now, it's gonna be just like every other Rocket event. You're gonna be able to TM Frustration, which is an absolute must. You make a tag in your storage for TM Frustration and save stuff in it for this every season, and make sure you remember to TM everything that you need. I know charge TMs are always a hot commodity and hard to get, but you gotta make, sometimes you gotta pick and choose. I've recently had to pick and choose because charge TMs are hard to get. I hate it. We also get the debut, though, of Varoom and Revavroom. If you've played Scarlet and Violet, this is a Pokemon from Paldea. And as far as I know, Revavroom doesn't have a terrible moveset. I don't know too much about it because none of it has been finalized, and anything that we have is currently leaks and data mines and things, so anything can change. But if you are able to farm the 12k eggs, I know that whenever we get a rocket event, I tend to farm the 12k eggs because it's a good Stardust. Good for Stardust and gains, and also has a chance to get those new lineups on the Rocket Leaders. But Revavroom has a decent moveset. You know, it's not going to be awful. It's going to be better than Salazzle, I imagine. So, and it's also nice to see that we actually have a shakeup of the 12k egg pool because it hasn't happened in a long time. And you can see it on the screen already. Shadow Kyogre is coming to Giovanni. So Giovanni having Shadow Kyogre, this might be worth at least a radar, or 1 or 2 radars, because Shadow Kyogre is probably going to be an absolute monster for raids. And if you can get one for Master League, like if you get lucky enough to get like a good IV Kyogre, and either you can purify it into a hundo if you don't have one at all, or you have decent IVs enough that you can build it for Master League, like this one looks like it could be decent. And I'm going to drop a little nugget of information, and if you like it, like and subscribe, because that's what just popped up on the screen. But seriously, stacking rocket radars is not something that a lot of people know how to do, and that's because it's actually locked behind the researches you get. So most people think you can only have one at a time, because typically if you're in the middle of the research, the game waits until you finish the current one to give you the next one. And so this is bypassed if you stay on page 1 of your rocket research. So if you don't want Kyogre, don't start the research. Just collapse it and let it stay on page 1. That's what I did because I didn't want Shadow Regigigas. And so when you get this event, you will get the rocket research for the Kyogre current rotation. So you'll have 2 rocket researches going at a time. And as long as you don't advance them past page 1, you'll continue to accrue them. Now, this is how you can stack radars, is by completing these researches at that same time. So you'll end up completing the research, and then you'll have like 2 rocket radars by the time you're super rocket radars by the time you're done. That's the most effective way to do it. So if you don't want Kyogre, just collapse the research. If you do want Kyogre, go for it. But this sets a precedent, right? We're expecting Shadow Groudon now and Shadow Rayquaza. And I think that Rayquaza is going to be worth a radar, so I would probably not. I'm going to skip Groudon personally, because I don't feel like it's worth using the radar to gamble on IV spreads that aren't going to be that good. And while it might be a good ground type raid attacker, that's about all it's going to have going for it. I think that because it's a fast move with Mudshot, it's probably not going to be as good with the Shadow. But I could be wrong. We'll have to wait for more information. But anyway, hopefully you enjoyed that little nugget of information. Shadow Ho-Oh is coming back to raids. So those of you who, like me, who didn't get a good Apex, maybe you don't have a Ho-Oh for Master League. Shadows are a good way to be a little bit more forgiving with the IV spreads. You just purify them and you have a hundo. And that's all you need. So that's going to be in raids, Shadow raids starting in the event. So it's going to start on the Saturday, and it's going to be until, it's just that weekend. So Saturday and Sunday, January 27th, 28th. You get 1 weekend to raid Shadow Ho-Oh, and if you're lucky, you'll counter a shiny one, trainers. Enjoy. Here's the new Shadow Pokemon that we're going to get. And this is not going to tell us what Arlo, Cliff, and Sierra have, but honestly, because this video is going to come out on Friday for me, you'll probably already know the lineups by the time this video posts, or if not very, very shortly after, so keep an eye on it. But out of all the Shadows here, I would put my focus on Snorunt, Piplup, Croagunk, and I guess you could put it on Dwebble. Ferroseed is debatable. Chimchar and Corphish, I'll get them for novelty, but they're not something that I'm going to be looking to go after personally. But I would definitely focus on Snorunt, Piplup, Croagunk, Dwebble. And then Ferroseed, if you get a good one, cool. I don't know if it's going to be super good yet or not. We'll have to wait and see how the Sims on PvPoke handle that. But the raid pool, meh. You want Tyranitar XLs? Okay. If you don't have a Galarian Weezing for Ultra League, this is a good time. Mine's a lucky trade, so raid IVs will work just fine for Ultra League. And while you're raiding it, you can also get XLs for it, which is nice. And if you don't have a Bombardier, this is a good chance to go do that. Shadow raids, Shadow Alolan Sandshrew is the big one here, and Shadow Skarmory, because obviously Skarmory in the Shadow, I actually don't think it's been around that long, it was very brief when we had it. So this is a good opportunity to get Shadow Skarmory in raids if you want to go through the whole Shadow raid system. But it was just said Varoom's going to come to the eggs field tasks. They got Sableye in here, which is nice, and that's pretty much all I would really go after for research tasks. But I want to show y'all something. There is a paid research here, and most of the time I shame the paid research because they're just a cash grab, and Niantic is just trying to make up money from their foolish decision with the remote raid passes. But look at this pose. Isn't it neat? Wouldn't you say this would make my collection complete? It would make my collection complete. That is the only pose I ever need to wear. That is a dope pose, and I will forgive them because this is worth $5 for me. This is the coolest pose in the game. It beats all the legend poses, dude. I'm gonna put my legend poses away for this thing. This is a good pose. So they get kudos for that. Also, if you want, there's gonna be an event bundle. I wouldn't worry about it because it's, yeah. All right, so anyway, next what we're gonna do is we're gonna just look at Annihilate in the 3 leagues here. So let's go transition over to PvPoke. It was too slow. So what we've done here is I've lined up Annihilate with all of its movesets, right? With Ice Punch, Night Slash, Ice Punch, Shadow Ball, Ice Punch, Close Combat, Night Slash, Shadow Ball, Night Slash, Close Combat, and it's running counter in all 5 of these situations. So what we're gonna do here is we're gonna just take a look at a matrix. Now this is gonna be a lot at first, especially if you're not used to reading the matrix, so I'll try to break it down here. So what we get in this first table is we get a table of Annihilate against the entire meta, okay? And this is the Great League. And then on the bottom here, we get Annihilate versus all of the other movesets. So the first one that we used as a reference is just Ice Punch, Night Slash, no nukes. You can see up on top here, it's record wins versus losses. It's got the lowest by far. So this is not a moveset that you would be expecting to use for the most part. Also, I don't have the rank 1 Annihilates in here or the rank 1 Great League, so it's just kind of averages, right? But you can see that already with Ice Punch and Shadow Ball, which I believe is the recommended moveset. It picks up so much and just drops Shadow Victory Bell, which most fighters don't win anyway. I think the only way that Annihilate wins that with the Night Slash is it just goes Night Slash the whole time and then maybe lands an Ice Punch at the end, but I don't think that's worth worrying about. Ice Punch Close Combat's the same story exactly. And then with Night Slash Shadow Ball, we do have some extra losses that we're picking up, so I don't know. I think that these are probably more worth keeping. I don't think Night Slash is going to be that move in the Great League. I think it's probably going to be better to have it Ice Punch personally, but having Ice Punch allows it to pick up Altaria, Clodsire, Swampert. I think that those are really important to be able to really have as a fighter type with Ice, oh my god, I can't speak. As a fighting type with Ice Punch, being able to take those matchups is very helpful because Annihilate is starting to feel like the new meta champ to me, right? Fighter that resists fighting has Ice Punch and Shadow Ball, hello? If that ain't some of the best coverage I've ever seen, and I don't know what is, but some really notable stuff here in these sims, and you can see blue is going to be a win, purple's going to be a loss for that particular Annihilate against whatever's here, right? You would expect Annihilate to be able to lose and win most of the things, but like I said, it picks up Ice Punch, gives it Altaria. Having Close Combat apparently is the only thing that allows it to really beat Carbink in a straight fight, and having Ice Punch again, or having Shadow Ball rather, is what allows it to beat Charge-a-Bug, otherwise it's a loss. Excuse me, still got that cough I'm working through. Clodsire looks like we're required to either have Shadow Ball and or Ice Punch to take that matchup. Cresselia destroys it, even though it's a ghost type. That Shadow Ball doesn't matter because of all the damage that's being done to it during the fighting type. Now, Lantern being on here as a loss is huge to me because I will take any opportunity I can to beat that fish. I hate it. Lickitung is close. It's like the flip side of Medicham close. Like one wrong move, one wrong shield. If you shield a Power Whip, I'm pretty sure you can win that matchup. I think Home Slice Henry did a video on Annihilate in the Great League, and I think he mentioned something about it. And then with Close Combat, obviously it beats it, but it destroys Medicham on all fronts except for when it has the no nuke move set. Poliwrath only wins if you're not running a nuke move, which is unlikely. Same with Skarmory. The fact that we can break the Skarmory Lantern core with Annihilate is massive. And I think that that's really what, one of the most important things to point out, because it also beats Whiscash. So having something that can core break that atrocious Skarmory Mudboy core, thank you, Niantic, for not messing this one up, because this is massive. having this kind of opportunity to core break that annoying core in this game is always something I will take. So let's take a look at the Ultra League and make sure that I don't mess this up, right? We want to make sure this is all correct, okay? We're going to put the Ultra League meta in here, and we're going to take a look at the same thing in the Ultra League here. So, Shadow Dragonite is something that it wins only if it has Night/Ice Punch. Again, that's probably like the Victory Bell from Great League. It's probably just because it baits with a Night Slash and just happens to get to an Ice Punch before going down or something. But it looks like in every sense, picking up a nuke move is going to be worth it. Now, as far as which one's going to be the best, it looks like Night/Shadow Ball is going to have the best win-loss record. But again, different movesets can always make a difference when you're trying to figure out what it is exactly you want to beat. Like, for example, let's go see if now Registeel gets clobbered, and that's okay with me. Poliwrath getting clobbered. I've had enough of Poliwrath this season, so we got something that can win against it. I'm all for it, dude. Somehow with Ice Punch close combat, Deoxys loses, but if you have Shadow Ball Night Slash, well, no, the Deoxys wins. That's right. I can't read my own simulations here. No, Annihilate beats Deoxys in every situation here, except for when it doesn't have super effective coverage. So Ice Punch close combat, right? Everything else is pretty much unchanged here with the movesets, except for Gyarados. You have to, for Gyarados, you have to have, where'd he go? Gyarados is right here. You have to have Shadow Ball in order to take a Gyarados matchup, so that might... Why is it doing this? That might be worth knowing. You have to have Ice Punch in order to beat Mandibuzz, because obviously everything else kind of not really helping you there in that matchup. And then Swampert, same deal as Great League. As long as you have a nuke, you can beat it. Tentacruel and Toxicroak are picked up by that Night/Shadow Ball moveset, which is the one that I think I would really highly recommend for the Ultra League, as it beats more things that are meta relevant. I want to see Giratina. Is it when how's Giratina? Giratina? Okay, no, Giratina still clobbers this thing. I just wanted to see because of the Shadow Ball Night Slash, but it still gets clobbered by Giratina. It's a fighter. At least that makes sense. Really wanted to be Giratina though. All right, so let's go take a look at the Master League, because I know that that's a hot topic for some. So let's go get the Master League meta here and then check these sims and see what we got. So overall, Annihilate is solid. It wins more than it loses in most situations, but this is a league where you're more likely going to want close combat and Ice Punch. It just happens to work better on this meta. Shadow Ball is definitely usable, but let's take a look at what the losses and wins are that we're going to be gaining in the Master League from this, right? So no nuke, you win some things, you lose some things, but it's not that great, right? With Shadow Ball, you're going to pick up Groudon, Metagross, Palkia, Reshiram. That's again probably like a bait slash, or you could maybe they go straight Shadow Ball. Hard to know. You have to look into it. If you wanted to look into it, like for example, we check Reshiram. As long as you have a nuke, you win. Now, do we have to bait in this matchup? It looks like, yeah, it's a bait with a shield, land a nuke sort of situation. So that's all that is, right? So, but the Ice Punch close combat picks all those things up, but doesn't drop these three. Yveltal and Snorlax are probably not going to be as meta relevant for the Open Master League. So this doesn't drop Rayquaza though. So what this tells me is that with Night Slash you can beat Rayquaza, and I think that's going to be kind of important because that allows you to beat one of the most obnoxious dragons in the league just because of that breaking swipe. It's one of my favorites for sure, but you definitely want to be running with the Ice Punch close combat moveset unless somehow you're looking to pick up that Reshiram match or the Zekrom matchup. But this is the clear-cut winner for me. With Ice Punch close combat having the best win-loss record over the entire league. So I think that's going to be really exciting. Everything about here is exciting. This is going to be a good week for PvPers. So I hope you all enjoyed this style of video. Let me know in the comments if you'd like me to cover more like this, do some more videos that are like this, cover some news and what's coming, and maybe do some sim stuff. I know I'm not the best, statistician or whatever you want to call them to, give you every nook and cranny detail, but I'm hoping that this overview is good enough. So let me know if you liked it. Like, subscribe if you haven't already, because apparently it's on the screen again, and I'm just really good at this. And yeah, we'll catch you guys in the next one. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.